running a webinar, spending all your money up front, and then finding out all your leads are broke sucks. In this video, I'm gonna be showing you the one strategy that we've implemented across every single one of our clients to have more visibility into the quality of lead before the webinar and increase our lead quality so you can stop dealing with brokies. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Michael. We run a marketing agency that works with coaches and personal brands. If you want to learn more about how to run better webinars and live events, subscribe to the channel. In this video, we're gonna be talking about something called the DQ trap or disqualifier trap. So the worst part about webinars and the biggest downside is you have to front load spend, meaning that all of your spend has to happen before the webinar. So you could spend 10 grand on a webinar that happens next Wednesday, and you don't know until you get to the webinar or until those people book calls with your sales team if they're qualified or if they're not qualified. This strategy that I'm gonna be explaining not only will give you visibility into the quality of lead before the webinar, but it will also act as a way to increase quality inside of your ads. So the way this works is your traditional method of running webinars is you're spending money all the way up until the webinar, and then you're doing it live. Now, what you need to figure out is how do you put something in between that time in order to determine whether people are qualified or not qualified? Because the last thing you want is burning money. By the time they get to the webinar, everybody is broke. And it happens often because we get stuck in these vanity metrics, seeing the cost per lead, seeing the click-through rate, seeing the conversion rate on the page, but that doesn't matter unless people are qualified and can actually pay you. And so what we've created is what's called the DQ trap. Now, DQ trap essentially is you're taking somebody from an ad, you take them to a page. Now, on this page, we have a traditional opt-in. We're not trying to stop people from opting in. We'd rather have volume rather than less volume. But what we end up doing is after they fill out the form, they then go to your thank you page. So your thank you page. But we do not pixel this thank you page, number one. So number one, no pixel, right? Which means that we're not sending all lead data back to Facebook. Now, this is really important if you run Facebook ads because whether you run YouTube, Facebook, doesn't really matter. But the pixel data that goes back, it's really important to make sure that it's the right type of people. If you're sending everybody back to the pixel, that means that Facebook is optimizing for every single person that has become a lead. But if your lead quality is low, it's going to continue to find low quality people. Now, what we've done here is not only do we not add a pixel, we actually add a thank you page survey. Now, this thank you page survey is going to ask a series of questions in order to determine whether that person is qualified or not qualified. So usually what we do is the way that this thing is built, it is essentially headline, congratulations, thank you. Then it has an image of a download that you're going to give them for free. And this download, the more congruent it is to the training itself, the better and the higher rate of conversion you'll get on this thank you page. When you have a really good download, it should look at about 70% conversion. So that means 70% of the leads that opt in here are going to this page and they're actually becoming a secondary lead. And all of these people are answering a survey that then has multiple questions on it, right? And so what that survey looks like is your first question is something really, really simple. Something that is like non-invasive, like what's your experience with X, Y, and Z topic, right? And you make them typically multiple choice because the goal here is we just want to understand the quality of lead. We don't need people to answer 20 questions. We don't need people to like become really engaged. So oftentimes when you're making applications, you're like, hey, we want people to answer so many questions that by the time they get to the end, they're higher quality in terms of an engagement rate to close. But here, all we want to know is how much money do these people have, right? So the first one is a question like, what's your familiarity with this product, right? So very easy familiarity with the product, right? The second question is something that pertains to the webinar itself or to the topic. So if it's like, let's say a real estate one, it's, hey, how many properties do you have? Or if it's Airbnb, how many Airbnbs do you currently have right now? Or if it's like a different biz op, you want to ask them their experience inside of the biz op, right? And so number two, experience. And number three can basically be kind of like a wild card. I personally always like to ask like a profession question. That gives me a little bit more insight into the types of leads that are coming on. So I personally like to ask profession. This tells me like who they are, but this is not going to determine whether we consider them qualified or not qualified. Because in order to do what's called logic jump inside of these forms, you have to ask a multiple choice question. So this one right here is multiple choice. This one right here is multiple choice. This one right here is like a written, right? So they're going to write it out. This will give you an idea of, are they nurses? Are they truck drivers? Or, like we've seen everything, right? And we just want to know, hey, are our leads kind of attracting like this type of demographic that we're trying to attract in our ads and our messaging, right? But number 4 is where you're going to ask the money question. How much do you have to invest into this type of offer, right? And now we're not asking them how much they have to invest into us. We're asking them how much they have to invest into buying their next property. How much do you have to invest into building this business, right? One cool trick, if you're seeing that there's a lot of people that are saying that they don't have money, but you're seeing that the profession is actually a profession that typically has money, you can say, hey, if this could potentially make you, let's say $10K a month, how much would you be willing to invest into getting those results, right? That allows people to say, oh, okay, if I could make $10K, I'd be willing to right now invest $5,000 or $10,000, right? And that question right there allows you to extract a better data set out of these people who may not want to put that they have extra money, right? There's a lot of people that also will put less than $5,000 because they just don't want to reveal that. But asking questions in a certain way can help you get the right answers, right? So right here, you're going to ask your money question. Now, this one will typically have a multiple choice here, and you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. I usually do less than 5K. So most of the offers we work on, if somebody has less than $5,000, they're just not going to be a good fit, right? I don't care what they're selling. Even if they're selling something that's like $2,000 or $3,000, if they have less than 5K, they're never going to be able to buy anything, right? The next one, we typically will do 5 to 10K. We'll do 10 to 25K, and then we'll do like 25K plus. Now, if you're in an industry where you're trying to get people who have 50,000 or 100,000 plus, change these a little bit. You can change this to 10K, and then so on and so forth, 10 to 20. You can do 20 to 50, 50 plus, right? Something like that. And so what happens here is when somebody answers the less than 5K here, we consider these people disqualified, or whatever that one that you put in there that you consider disqualified. And so what will happen on the page is that they'll get a message that pops up right here that just says, thank you, check your email for the download. So we don't move them. Remember, this page is no pixel. We don't move them from this page because we don't want them to get pixeled. We don't want them to get sent back to Facebook. But if they answer any of these 3 right here, we then send these people to a new thank you page, right? And this new thank you page right here is our qualified thank you page. And this is pixeled because what we want is we want this data to be sent back to Facebook because now we're telling Facebook the quality of lead that we want. Plus, what we're also doing is we're able to then add extra stuff to the thank you page to warm up our qualified leads. Now, a tip for qualified leads, number 1, you want to monitor this every single day. I actually monitor this all the time across all of our clients because it helps me on the ad side understand who's going to be qualified, who's not going to be qualified, because that's super important. Like if I'm running ads, within the first 24 hours, I'm seeing a bunch of less than 5, less than 5, less than 5, less than 5, then I know that I need to immediately change the ads. Like I can't even let those run for another 2 or 3 days because they're not going to improve. And that gives me the visibility that I need so that I don't spend $10,000 on a webinar that just has the most bunk leads possible, okay? So watch this every couple hours, I would say, in the first day or 2, so you can determine whether you want to adjust your ads, not adjust your ads, reshoot messaging, and be very, very, very quick with this. So number 1, check every 2 hours because, again, you're going to be able to change your messaging. And number 2, we always recommend if you have setters, have your setters cherry pick and reach out to these people because we know that these are the highest quality leads, right? These are the people that are qualified to buy our product. But we also know that you're only going to get a 20-ish%, 25% show rate. Sometimes maybe a little bit higher, but the reality is, 75, 80% of people don't show up. And so we can have our setters cherry pick the best leads to start conversations with pre-webinar to ensure that these people show up. And the good thing is if they don't show up, they now have a relationship with somebody else that can have that conversation. Hey, you missed it. Let's have a conversation. Let me send you the replay. How's the replay? They can have these conversations pre-webinar, right? And even post-webinar. So they're building relationship, building that rapport so that they can close them down the line, right? So the second thing you do with these qualified lead is you have the setters. And the third thing that you do is obviously the pixel. We're sending all of this data back to Facebook. I love this method because it's not just the pixel, but it's the visibility that I get. As an advertiser, I used to hate running a webinar And like, I'm nervous, right? I'm nervous that like by the time we get to the webinar, everybody's gonna be fucking broke and my client's gonna be pissed off. They're gonna make zero money. There's 10K burned real quick. So this lets me know what I need to do as an advertiser to fix that. Now let me give you an example of what that looks like. So here's an example of one of our clients right here. This is what the thank you page looks like. And you see, congrats, you managed to claim one of our spots for the training. Check your email, add the event to your calendar. Now, the first thing you have here is, do you want a free gift before the workshop? And this is for an Airbnb client. And so our ultimate pitching guide, this thing works fantastic. How to pitch landlords. So this is an Airbnb arbitrage offer. And so the biggest thing about Airbnb arbitrage is that you've got to convince landlords to let you sublease their properties and put it on Airbnb. One of the biggest fears of Airbnb arbitrage. And so we offered this ultimate pitching guide. Now, to be clear, it doesn't really matter what's inside of this guide. The better stuff that's inside, it'll help them warm up. But a lot of people don't even consume the guide. The whole purpose of this is to get the information you need from them in order to determine whether they're qualified or not qualified, right? And you just say, answer this 4 short question survey and we'll send it over right away, right? And you have it set up like this where you've got the questions here. So let's just say, for example, I answer this, goes to the next one. I answer this, how soon would you like to get started? We like to ask credit in this one because he has, I think it's like 6 or 7 financing options. And so we also want to know what kind of credit does this person have. So if you're comfortable with asking credit, you can ask credit. Like I said in this one, this is kind of like a wild card. And so ask the credit question. Let's say we answer this, and then they answer 10,000, 25,000, and they put their information in to go to the next step. Now, pro tip, if you're using like ClickFunnels and ClickFunnels thank you pages, or Go High Level opt-in and Go High Level thank you page, this will auto-populate, right? And so let's say they opted in with their name, number, and email on the front end of the page, the opt-in page. It'll auto-populate here. All they have to do is hit submit. All right, so and if we say less than $5,000 and I submit my info, you'll see that it doesn't take me off of this page, right? This is such an important part. It says you got it, check your email for the guide. If I take this person off this page, then it will end up at another page, which is basically the confirmation, the thank you page. Now, the confirmation page is relatively similar to like what is below this right here, right? And so when you look at the rest of this page, let's say, for example, somebody doesn't want to fill this out. When you look at the rest of this page right here, what you want to put are a few things on thank you pages. Number one, and we will do another video about this where we dive a little bit deeper, but these are called like breakout videos, right? And I didn't make these up. This is actually from a mentor of mine, but these breakout videos are like, you know, you can see right here, what is sublease? Why start now? How much time is required? Is Airbnb saturated? So they're questions to kind of get the person familiar with whatever you're selling. And then you can go into like case studies right here, right? And so all this stuff is the same thing on the thank you page, the quality thank you page, the qualified one, as it is on this one, except we obviously don't have this pitching guide on the qualified one because they just got that, right? And so this is just a good example of like how this works. And again, this works phenomenal for you to get more visibility into the quality of lead and optimize your Facebook ads for quality leads. And so just to recap basically the structure of this thing, you've got your ad to your landing page, your opt-in, then you go to unpixeled, no pics, thank you, they answer a survey, and then you go to pixeled, thank you. This is your qualified, right? And so this structure right here has probably saved our clients millions of dollars. It's made us more money. It's made me a better advertiser. And so if you're running your own ads or you have a media buyer, give this to them immediately. Because if you're sick of dealing with broke leads and you're trying to get out of this broke lead trap, and every single time you make a change on your ads, but you cross your fingers that they show up with money and you realize that the change either worked or didn't work, this right here will tell you less than 24 hours whether that change is working or it's not. So if you're running webinars and you have not found a fix for your broke leads yet, try this strategy out. And if you're interested in more videos just like this to show you how to make more money with live events, check out the rest of our videos. I'll see you next time.